Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mike Gormley Show and listening to the great stories from Stephen Kravit from the film world. Stephen, we just listened to, coming back in from the commercial, we listened to Live and Let Die, Paul McCartney, Wings. You were involved in that? What's the story behind all that?
Yes, Paul McCartney. When I was in United Artists, we wanted Paul McCartney to do the song for "To Live and Let Die," and I dealt with Lee Eastman, who was his father-in-law, in making the deal. And it was a tough deal. We had to pay a lot of money. When I say we, United Artists had to pay it. Had to pay a lot of money, but I was able to get a couple of points on the album.
Mm.
And that was it, which is not too dissimilar from what I did with Vangelis, although with Vangelis on Chariots of Fire, we paid him nothing. I arranged to pay him zero, and allowed him to keep all publishing and got 2 points on that album.
Well, and you bring up, we're going to listen to that music a little later on, piece of that. I think it's one of the greatest pieces of music in film history. I love the feel to all of that, and the film itself actually is a standout. Does somebody in the creative side call you up and say, "Here's the deal, we want," or "Here's what we want, go after them"? Is it that the way it starts?
Well, you're talking about Chariots of Fire?
Well, on probably anything, but that one in particular, I guess. If there's
on Chariots of Fire, I was with 20th Century Fox at that time, and the head of production told me that Fox was acquiring the international rights to the film, and that the budget of the film was $3 million. I could play around with $1.5 million, and I should just call David Putnam and make the deal. And I did call David. There's the whole story with Chariots of Fire. You raised this one. And I told David that as part of making the deal, since all we were getting was international, I wanted that Fox would have a first right to acquire the domestic rights to the film. In the event he or the person who he was dealing with, a fellow by the name of Dodi Fayad, who is known to the world to some extent through his Princess Diana involvement, he had acquired the rights to the domestic business side of the Chariots of Fire. And so I was making deals and approving deals for the actors. That was fairly simple. The toughest thing was going to be, David told me, I have no money. What can we do about music? I'd like to have some music, and I have this great Vangelis who I'd like to do it. So I called, I think I spoke to Vangelis himself, because I don't remember who his representative was, if he had one. Mm-hmm. And we agreed that he would own the score and all publishing rights, but we would get 2 points on the soundtrack album. And it was done. Then, interesting, as we go on with Chariots of Fire, my wife and I saw an early cut of that film, and we both thought that it was the best thing we had seen in many years. Mm. And by that time, Shortly thereafter, I start to see ads by Warner Brothers that they're going to be releasing Chariots of Fire. I send them cease and desist, and their lawyers let them know that I had them by short hairs because I had all the rights. And by that time, Marvin Davis had acquired the studio. I get a call from Marvin Davis saying, "What are you doing to my friend Dolly Parton?" So I told him, I asked him to come up to my office. I'll explain it all. And he came up, and I told him that Chariots of Fire was the best picture I'd seen in a long time. That as far as I was concerned, this is a film that could be the best, make the best, be the best international film ever, and make the most money of an international film ever, and could also get an Oscar as Best Picture. And it's Marvin, imagine yourself going up on the stage and receiving the Oscar for Chariots of Fire. Marvin called up his head of domestic distribution, who said, I can't deal with this film because it requires special handling. And unless it's a film like Rocky that has special, Rocky in boxer shorts,
Mhm.
I say, let it go. And they let it go. And needless to say, it became the best foreign film, the highest grossing foreign film, and got an Oscar. Furthermore, Rocky was done through my efforts in a deal that I had made for United Artists with Charlotte Winkler, which is another story.
Mhm.
But that's my Chariots of Fire situation.
Well, why would Warner Brothers just start advertising something? They must have known they didn't have the rights. Why would they think otherwise?
Well, because Dodi Fad most likely didn't know that his rights were conditional. I don't know. That's a good question. I never knew the answer to that.
Well, they found out.
Yep, they found out.
It is a great film. It's still a great film. It's really, and the music, this just floors me every time I hear it.
Oh, and every time when I would go to Warner Brothers periodically to meet with friends of mine who I trained in the business, and I would see that Chariots of Fire advertisement that they had framed in their hallway, it would just eat at my heart.
No, Evangelos, I guess is how he pronounces his name. The composer was basically he was known in mainly Europe. He was from Greece. He had a band called Aphrodite's Child that was very big, but he was not known as a film composer. It was a bit of a risk, was it not?
Well, it was may have been a risk, but I was leaving that to David Putnam as the producer of the film.
Oh, well, it's good you could weren't involved in that, but I think it was a great move, and still one of the greatest scores for a film.
Well, we would have had to go elsewhere had Vangelis not agreed to take nothing in the way of cash.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have gotten the job.
Well, everyone made out okay.
Yep.
I assume. What on the financial side? There's a point where you would be involved in this, I guess. Maybe not in the actual, but these days, raising money for a film. There's all kinds of films all over the place. They're being made for Netflix and big studios and so on and so forth. But it calls for financing. A lot of the independent films have to go scramble for financing. Is that what is that side of the world like? If you know at this point about is it easier or more difficult? What's the story?
Well, I was for a short time involved in trying to produce myself, and trying to find, and the name of the game is finance and finding money, and it's very tough. Everything you do, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 60 minutes every hour, is you're thinking, who can I go to for money? And you need more than your voice. You need something in writing. So you have to commit some dollars to, at a minimum, a treatment of some sort, hopefully a script, and any other element that you might be able to get attached to it, even without any money being committed. And then you just go and pedal with all your contacts. And there are a lot of people who just want to be in show business. And
that's the revenue.
That's it. That's the revenue. They want to be in show business. I forget who it is who said that everybody's second job is show business.
Right. Well, it's a risky investment, I would think.
Yes, it's very risky. Not quite as risky as the stage, but it's extremely risky because films just fall away. Although Netflix, the streamers, because they keep these films going forever around the world, have been able to somewhat ameliorate that risk, but it's still the same risk. I mean, they're paying less for their films by and large. But the risk is still there, but they don't have to pay quite as much to advertising and promotion, which is where a lot of films end up losing money. But the basic getting money to get the film made to begin with, that's just a very tough business. It's hard. If your family doesn't have it and your friends don't have it, and if you don't have a friendly bank, we'll do it on an interim basis. It's just impossible.
Well, we're going to a break for a minute, but we're going to listen to some music from another really good film from a while back, and that's 9 to 5. And
yes,
that was
really
still a great film and still a great song. So we're heading out to take a listen to that for a second. We'll get a little commercial in, and we'll come back to the Mike Gormley Show. Thanks for listening.